amazing, beautiful people. Hello, welcome to another episode of Superstar Interviews, where we get to interview the most amazing coaches on earth. Today, we have the amazing privilege to speak to AMY YAMADA. Okay, she is your go-to coach when it comes to abundance, joy, and creating a business that aligns authentically to your mission, your purpose in life and in business. Okay, with over 22 years in sales, marketing, and business development, she is your go-to coach to empower you to get to those 6-7 figures through irresistible messaging, clear growth plans, and building the dream team to support you in your vision. And I'm so excited to be here with you, AMY. We have a lot to talk about, so let's jump into it, shall we?
Yes, thank you for having me as well. It's awesome.
Yes, likewise. And personally, y'all, I had the opportunity to actually meet AMY in person, like in the flesh, like we high-fived.
You did.
So this is a very special call because I got to see the person walk the walk, talk the talk, and I can actually say she's the real deal. So AMY, I want to start this off with the question that everybody might have right now. How in the world did you become so freaking successful? Like, how did you do this?
Well, it definitely was not overnight. When you see those like ads where it's like, I did 6 figures in 2 seconds. I'm like, I was not that person. So just keeping it real, the first few years I was definitely, I like to say like I was a hot mess, but a friend of mine was like, AMY, you were experimenting. So I try to, change it to like, I was experimenting, but I really knew I wanted to be my own boss, live life on my own terms, and, use my experience. Like I worked in the corporate world for like 15 years, but I knew deep down inside, I'm like, you know what, I really want something more and something that's more fulfilling to me. And I don't think it's going to be in this corporate place. There's nothing against corporate. I learned so much. I'm grateful for it, but I just knew deep down inside, I'm like, you know what, I believe that I'm meant to make a bigger difference in my own way. And I also want to live my life the way I want to live it and not have to fill out a vacation request form anytime I want to take time off, So
get to that.
So part of it was just like this initial journey of like, just knowing I wanted to go off on my own, knowing that if I do it, I just need to go all in. And so I did a lot of experimenting with because I didn't know quite what I wanted to do. It was like, do I want to do more business coaching, consulting, marketing and PR, life coaching? I was kind of exploring all the different coaching elements. And ultimately I found that my heart is with the entrepreneur. And I love to empower them authentically in a way that's really aligned with them. I don't like to take a cookie cutter approach. I like to really connect with my clients, my entrepreneurial friends, and just see like what I see in them, connect with them deeply and bring out the best. And I find that when I did that myself to really practice what I call deep connection, I deeply connected with my authentic voice and being, deeply connected with my vision, my mission, my message, and then deeply connected with others. Like once I had that kind of trifecta of deep connection, then everything took off. So it was more of a way of being than any one strategy. I think that there's a lot of great strategies that are out there that we all use. But to me, it's like it starts with me first. It starts with you first, your way of being, and that's really what helped me to take off, as well as some practical steps for sure. Yeah,
and it's really not something that you just. I love that you said cookie cutter, because it's not just a one size fits all.
For sure. Yeah.
And I saw a video that you have of one of your talks, because you speak all over the world. Okay. By the way, if you want to book AMY, make sure to hit up her website because she's amazing.
Thank you.
You speak so true in the other person's shoes. So you're able to really identify that message that can actually connect with someone, even if it's through the digital mediums. Mm-hmm. What superpower? How did you develop this superpower? Because this, I feel, one of the biggest things in business, life, and even relationships, okay? Mm-hmm. Messaging is everything.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I just got chills. Yes. So I didn't know it was, I genuinely didn't know it was a gift. I thought everyone knew how to like, communicate and be their authentic selves and message their business, message what it is that's in their mind. And I continue to evolve my own. So I certainly am not like, I never think that I have it all figured out. But what I realized over time was that I was able to create this momentum and success in my business. And even when I look back in my life, in terms of when I was competing for a job or, things like that, it's like, what is that thing that is uniquely you, that is uniquely me, that we can share with the world? And then also think about who you're sharing it with and what's going on in their head. And of course we don't know for sure, but if we really listen, like here's what's worked well for me, and also what I've taught others, like, okay, what is my vision? What's my goal? How do I want to communicate with this person? And then usually I find, at least in my journey, that I attract who I am or who I've been in some way, shape, or form, right? Like you attract who you are, right? So it's like, okay, so if you attract who you are, then you may have some deep understanding about what the person is experiencing right now. And I remember hearing this quote. I wish I knew who said it. I don't know who said it, but or also give them credit. But a quote that said, "Your best client is you 3 years ago."
Yeah.
Right. And so maybe you've heard this before, right? So if you look back to yourself 3 years ago, give or take, right? And it's like, okay, where was I at that time? What did I want? What were my challenges? And on a deeper level, what were the most vulnerable thoughts that were going on in my head? And so if we can just go back to a moment, like I can go back to moments in my journey where I'm like, what was the thing I was stressed about or thinking about or fearful of or excited about? And I can go to a moment and then share a story about that moment, And so that to me, like in messaging and email copywriting and speaking from stages, like I love a good story that doesn't just retell a story, it relives a moment.
Oof.
Right?
It lives a moment.
Like relive a moment, because otherwise it's like, because people connect through storytelling, So okay, let me ask you this. When you think about your audience that may be tuning in right now, what's one of the pain points they may have?
One of the main pain points is like they've hit a certain number of clients.
Yeah.
Okay. That is their threshold of, okay, income wise.
Yeah.
Right. And because they don't know how to get, maybe if they've earned 300,000, right? Yeah. That is their pain point right now. If they get lower than 300,000 a year, it's like, what am I doing with my life? Am I successful? Am I not successful? Like, yeah. Why am I not being who I need to be? Like all this pressure.
Yeah.
Versus once you hit 600,000, it's a different feeling. Once you hit the million a year, it's like, okay, now I know what to do. You can hit to 10 million easier, right? Mm-hmm. But the systems in place that are required, I think that is where people fall off, because it's not just tech related.
Right.
It's not just team related. It's internal.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Yep. The belief system. And I feel like one of the things that you've really been able to capture is really hearing someone and then literally being like, hey, this is actually how you say it for someone else to receive that same feeling.
Right. Got it. Okay. Got it. So I love this. So, okay. So if I were thinking about that person who's stuck around the $300,000 a year mark, then in my mind, I'm like, okay, can I relate to that? Have I been there? And in my case, I have been there. And what was that experience like for me when I felt stuck? Right. And so before I even just like blurt something out, I'll go within and think back to what was going on in my mind. What was I experiencing? Just kind of do some grounding around it. And so even when I think about, like, the first thoughts that are coming to my mind was that I definitely had frustration when I was around that mark. And it wasn't around like, I can't do this. It was more around the frustration around my gap of potential, right? Like, I know I can do, like, I deep down inside, like, I know I can, I have enough belief in myself. I know I can do this, but my frustration is like, why am I stuck here right now? Right? Like, if I keep doing what I'm doing, I'm going to continue being stuck in this place, and I'll have another year where I'm in the same place. And I like to expand and grow. Right. So all I'm doing is like a stream of consciousness of what did that feel like? and connecting in with that. And then I'm sharing the vulnerable thoughts as if they were present and I can actually physically feel it, like so frustrating, right? Like I wish, I know that I'm meant for more. I know that I can do this. It's just something's missing. What is it that's missing? And I feel like, and then there could be some internal critic, happening, just like, oh, I wish I was further along than where I am now. I should, like the should, so I can speak into that. And when I say it out loud, like people who are feeling it are like, oh my gosh, that's me, right? That's how I feel. And so when we vulnerably share what the thoughts were, then it connects in with their current thoughts and they're going to lean in and listen like, okay, so what happened next? Because I want to learn from this person, to see if it can help me. Got it?
That is so strong. And, one of the things that we always talk about is journaling, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Personally, I've gone through the growth of literally, Isabel, get out of your head, put it onto paper, because no longer it has control over me.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, I know that you're really big on, and I love this, it's like the strong tagline for the email, right? And let's talk a little bit of strategy, because I feel like people are like, just give me the goods, right?
Totally.
Like all this mushy stuff, and they're like, oh, I don't even want to go through it, but it's like the most important thing ever, right? The strong taglines, the subject lines on emails.
Yep.
Amazing, right? But there was one thing that I was like, damn, Amy, you always know how to hit it. And it's the PS.
The PS is powerful. Yes.
Yes. So can you shine light on this moment? Because if you are currently in a position where you don't know how to speak to your clients, if you don't know how to actually connect with them, this little strategy here can not only increase your open rates, but also book appointments and even sell your coaching programs, high ticket offers, whatever it is that you're talking about. Because this one thing is literally a cherry on top with some whipped cream.
Yeah. Okay. So I love this. So I'll share with you a little golden nugget for your subject lines and golden nugget for PS. Okay. So with subject lines, here's what I've noticed is that if we always have subject lines that sound like a marketing email, then that's how it's going to be received. Right. And I'm not saying that to not ever say things like the 3 mistakes entrepreneurs make on making offers, like those can be helpful too. But I like to mix in the personal magnetic subject lines, for lack of a better phrase. So what I mean by that is, how would you authentically write to one person? And the way that I like to even test myself on this is to go into my own inbox and go to my own, like legitimately, like my Gmail, right? Like my own personal inbox, and look at my sent items and look at how I normally write subject lines, right? Wow. Just to study yourself, like how do I normally write to people? If I was truly writing to one person, what would I say? Now, obviously those are truly personalized, but just look through them and see like, what's the vibe? And so, for example, if my vision for my purpose of an email to send to you, Isabel, was to hop on a call, my subject line would be like, okay, let me just tap in for a second. I was typing to you, subject line, I'd probably say like, let's chat this week, or something like that. Like, hey, or are you around this week? Or can we chat this week? ? Like in the subject line. And then I'd write the email to you and just say, hey, Isabel, I know it's been a little while since we last chatted. And I've been seeing some of your awesome posts about you traveling the world. And, but yeah, I would love to catch up with you, see what you're up to. And I've got something coming up that made me think of you. Are you around this week? Love, Amy, right? XOXO Amy, right? Like that would be the email, right? Like that's it. And so I always like to think the subject line is like, what's your goal and how would you normally write it anyway? And just be yourself. Sometimes my highest open subject lines that I don't overuse them because I wouldn't want to be that person that just like same subject line all the time. But every once in a while I'll do one that says, hey, right? Or quick question, or let's chat this week. Or, recently I've been selling into some fun like destination VIP experiences. So I'm like, hey, let's meet up in Hawaii. Right? Like, and it's like, what? So I'm going to be in Hawaii for a few weeks summer. So I'm like, oh, I'll have some VIP experiences there, and I'm going on a cruise in the Caribbean at the end of July. So I'm just like, hey, want to meet up in the Bahamas next month? Like I just think about how would I write it to one person? So the subject line is really about like you being you and like, what would you say to that person based on the purpose of the email?
I love that. I love that so much. And I've heard the line of, Just write like if you're writing to a friend. I don't like that. I like how you say one person
Yeah,
instead, changing it around, because you might talk to your friend in a whole different way, right?
totally. Yes.
And you still want to come off like you know what you're talking about. Let's be real, okay?
Right? Yeah, that's
But
true. That's true.
it's so nice. And then it's like, okay, cool, you send that. And then I respond like, yes, Amy, of course, let's chat. How do you get that conversation going?
Yeah. So I mean, if it's via email, then I want to go back, I might go back and forth once or twice. And then ultimately I want to get on a call. For me, like I do like getting on calls. I know some people are like, oh, you don't have to get on calls. Like so it's a personal choice, right? Whatever's authentic to you. They'll say, awesome. Like if somebody responds and said, like, so for example, with my cruise, I've had people respond saying, oh, send me the details. I'm like, yeah, awesome. Like, so I might say something like, hey, why don't we jump on a call? I'll be happy to share with you all the details. I might share some details in the email because it's date specific in that case. But if not, if it were, say it was like a one-on-one coaching opportunity, I might say something like, yeah, I'll be happy to share with you all the details or of a group program. We kick off on this date, but it'd be helpful to just jump on a call and get to know each other on a deeper level and see if this makes sense for you moving forward. Something where there's like a next step of engagement, and then we jump on a call.
Yeah.
But just be real, like just be yourself. And then the same thing with the PS. Like the PS to me is an opportunity to either overcome a possible objection or to reiterate the CTA. I mean, I like to use the PS for different reasons, but one would be, what might they be thinking? What might there be a reason why they wouldn't get on a call? Like, I know my ideal clients are established coaches, and so they're busy, right? They have full schedules. Time is their challenge, right? Lack of time in their minds anyway. So I might say, hey, PS, I know you may be super busy, so we can totally keep this call short, but I would love to connect with you, or something like that.
To the point.
To the point. So, totally to the point. And that's personal preference. Like sometimes we'll send out longer emails, but I personally don't like super long scrolly emails. I'm like, who has the time? Some people love them. Like, it's got to be so good if you're gonna write a long email, in my opinion.
Yeah. And that's
personal.
so powerful because, ladies and gentlemen, you have to keep it authentic. High ticket sales, it's not about cookie cutter, all this stuff. So everything that Amy just shared will allow you to get that high ticket sale. It's not about, and I'll be honest with you, and I think Amy, you will agree, high ticket sales, it's not a robot sport. It's a contact sport, human to human contact sport. So if you can master the emotional intelligence, the communication skills, and also the relationship building, okay, that is when high ticket becomes literally, you get into your pocket, you can grab it anytime that you want.
Yep.
It's your ticket to everywhere. So thank you, Amy, for that so much. I know you have to run soon, and I want to be respectful of your very busy time. So I have one last question for you, and this is probably going to be the most important question that I will ever ask you as a friend. Okay. And I kind of know the answer, but we live very similar, rooted values. We have very, very rooted values here. What does freedom mean to you, Amy?
Oh, that's a great question. I probably would have answered it differently a few years ago, but from today's vantage point, freedom to me means doing what I love, being with people I love, and being in places that I love. Like at the end of my days, I want to look back and say, you know what, I spent time with people I loved, and I focused on what I was passionate about and making the impact I want to make in the world and living authentically to me.
Yes.
Yes.
I love that so much. And I was able to live that with you and Ken in your home. So it's like, and Thai food. Like, let's be real. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are ready to just take your life to the next level, make sure to hit up Amy. She's on everywhere. Okay. And if you're interested in a cruise to the Caribbean,
yes, we're going to the Bahamas. I'm so excited.
Yes. If you're interested in Hawaii,
yep, Yeah.
Let's be honest, it's there too. So if you're ready to take your life and your business to the next level, Amy's your girl. So
Thank you so
talk
much.
to you soon, Amy. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.